What's up, gamers? Voodoo here, and today we're taking a look at Ret Paladin in the next video in my series of just taking a look at all of the melee in the War Within. Now, Ret Paladin, of course, I am not an expert, so shout out to people from the Ret Paladin Discord for just kind of providing knowledge and help me bridge the gap here. But Ret Paladin did receive some changes. I wouldn't call it a full rework, but they got some new toys in their talent tree. They got some changes to how their stats sort of work, which helps out a lot. And they also, of course, got 2 new hero talents. So in today's video, take a look at those. Of course, these videos are more vibe based, much less throughput and viability based. Just taking a look at how fun things are and just kind of sharing my thoughts as I kind of pick up these specs and play them around for a few minutes. So with that out of the way, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what melee you want to see next that I haven't done yet. There we go. I guess let's just get into it. All right, so here we are on the beta, and let's go over the changes to the trees pretty quickly here. So class tree quickly, Retribution Aura is gone, and Crusader's Reprieve or whatever, the thing that gave you 3 extra yards on your melee's kick and Crusader Strike is gone. So those are gone because of shifts regarding class, just like gameplay design. They got rid of having 2 raid buffs because, again, 2 raid buffs is very constricting on group building, and most classes don't actually have 2. You could argue Rogue does. I think that's a very poor faith argument. You'll never really need numbing poison. It's very rare you'll need that, and other classes can bring that, like a Warlock. This was removed, the actual auto range stuff, because all melee classes were getting their melee swings reduced. Don't worry, Ret still has infinite range. Blade of Justice is still 20 yards. Templar's Verdict is still 20 yards. Judgment's still 20 yards. So don't worry about that. That's staying. So those are gone there. Retribution Aura going away does kind of screw over Ret a little bit because Ret does end up having no unique utility that Holy or Prot brings. Prot has spell warding. Holy has aura mastery. So Ret doesn't bring anything unique. So realistically now it's like tuning if Ret will get in, which does suck. But Ret, I think, is in a pretty fun spot in terms of what's actually happening with their talent trees there. So sucks the class tree, but I think overall the class is more fun to play. Just those tuning things do have to fall in line. So what's changed on the spec side? So the biggest issues were stats, basically, and also the ability not to have cleave at all. So stats were fixed, cleave things were fixed. You can have much more hybrid stuff now, and they also got some new fun toys. So first, let's talk about stats. So stats before reverse was like one of your best stats, which whenever that happens, you're fucked. Mastery has been completely redesigned to make it better. So Mastery was always pretty good in AoE, was not very good in single target. So now they've increased the coefficient a little bit so it scales better, basically. And also they've added a second part. So Judgment now has a chance to blast a target with light, dealing holy damage. Now this actually is just straight up single target damage, which makes Mastery a lot better. Coupled, of course, with the actual increase to the damage itself. There's some stuff in the talent tree that does work with that. Stuff like High Lord's Wrath, making it more effective. Getting more greater judgment, stuff like a Divine Arbiter, High Lord's Judgment, Holy Strike give you Divine Arbiter, stuff like that works with it. So Mastery a lot better. Other one was Crit. Crit was bad for Ret because a lot of talents that Ret had just made things automatically crit. You had the one down here, you had some Blade of Justice stuff, so that's been removed. A lot of those now just do more damage, like Vengeful Wrath. But there's also stuff now that just works with crit, right? We have stuff like Holy Blade, stuff like Art of War, where crits increase the reset chance for Blade of Justice by 10%. We have stuff like Burn to Ash, where crits now extend the duration of Truth's Wake, which is the dot, of course. And there's also some critical strike scaling in the tree itself, in some of the hero talent trees, with stuff like Sunseer, Hammer of Wrath, and Divine Storm. Crits cause the target to burn for additional damage. So altogether, crit and mastery have been made a lot better, so that's a fix there. The other big one was to cleave. So beforehand, it wasn't really possible to take cleave talents as a Retribution Paladin, where on a lot of bosses, if it was single target with some adds, it just wasn't worth it taking them. And a lot of changes have been made to do that. So they've put Empyrean Legacy in a better place to make it easier to take. They've reworked Judge, Jury, and Executioner now to where holy power generating abilities have a chance to cause Final Verdict to hit additional enemies. So that's some nice passive cleave there. They've added a brand new talent, Holy Flames, which is extra Divine Storm damage. Whenever it hits an enemy affected by Expurgation, which is the dot from your Blade of Justice, it'll now spread that to 4 targets, and you also deal extra damage to targets that have that. So it's some cleave. It's strong damage with Divine Storm, and also some single target with the 3% increased damage to expurgation targets, and you'll often have lots of target. You'll have full uptime of that, basically, especially with 2 charges of Blade of Justice. So those are some talents that were like improved and changed there. They've also made Blessed Champion, which is the AoE Crusader Strike and Judgment, 1 talent point, so it's much easier to pick up. But they also changed around some of the nodes down here. So notably, they've moved up the Holy Strike damaging, and your Holy Strike damage and abilities that deal Holy Strike damage deal 5% more. Used to be down here on Divine Arbiter. It's now up here on Blades of Light, similar to how the Radiant increases in Burning Crusade. So you actually have to take 1 less talent point to get that single target increase in Mythic Plus, which is really good. They've also reduced the effectiveness of Execution Sentence and Final Reckoning. So what this does, it allows them to put power in other parts of the tree, which means that they can actually weaken this node, because oftentimes in Mythic Plus you aren't fully investing in this node down here, and a lot of the single target damage for Ret was from Execution Sentence and stuff like that. So you're actually getting more damage in other parts of the tree, less damage down here, so that damage can be spread out across single target and Mythic Plus. Now they did remove some stuff, but in return have given powerful and fun new options instead. So they got rid of the consecration from your Blade of Justice thing, and they reworked Divine Hammer. Divine Hammer now is a 2-minute cooldown, so an extra cooldown. It's not very powerful right now, but it could be interesting if they ever buff it up. So whenever you use it, the hammers spin around you, consuming a holy power every 2 seconds to deal damage. And while active, your generators, so Judgment, Blade of Justice, and Crusader Strike, recharge 75% faster and increase the rate at which Divine Hammer strikes by 15% whenever you use them. So it's a 2-minute cooldown that just gives you more generation, and also a passive holy power drain to deal damage. Kind of similar like Breath of Sindragosa, which is interesting, but yeah, again, not really that powerful, not really too worth it. The other big thing they did was, well, I guess they moved Wake of Ashes up here, but they've also given a new talent down here, Radiant Glory. So what this does is it gets rid of wings. Wings is gone, and basically whenever you use Wake of Ashes, you get wings for 8 seconds. So each holy power spent also has a chance to give you wings. So this turns you into a 30-second burst class, which is super powerful, and I think actually really fun. Getting more wings every time you use Wake of Ashes feels great. Couples really well with the tier set, which is Blade of Justice damage, Wake of Ashes damage, and then Wake of Ashes just gives you 10% damage done for 8 seconds, which is great. So really good combo there. Now this does have some friction with some of the stuff in the tree. The procs don't work with Divine Wrath. Divine Wrath just kind of doesn't work with them. And the other one is that Execution Sentence, 8 seconds, but if you take Executioner's Will, which gives it to 12, it does desync a bit because this only lasts for 8 seconds. So you'll have 4 seconds of sentence without any wings. But overall, I still think it's really fun. So really good stuff there. I generally really enjoy all the new talents they've gotten, all the changes. It feels a lot better. It's a lot easier to take cleave trees and like trees where like you're single target, but also are taking some AoE. Like this is a single target tree I cooked up. It's very easy to take AoE stuff. You have a bunch of points here that you can kind of just put wherever to take cleave talents. Like I've dropped all these things that can be dropped like basically 4 points, even more if you take some of the stuff there. So you have a lot of points to be put into the cleave things, which is really good. So there you go. Those are the class and spec tree changes. All right, hero talents. Honestly, both of Ret's hero talents are pretty fun. And they look visually cool, which I think is a big ups. Templar feels great, and I think it's the single target option, and Herald Sun seems like more of an AoE option. Obviously, it's hard to tell right now. From what I saw, Ret Paladin doesn't have any sims up yet. By the time you're watching this, they might. I'm recording this in advance here because I'm going away pretty soon, so I'm starting to get a backlog. But pretty fun stuff. I think Templar flows really well with the spec, with the 30-second burst window. Herald of the Sun has some bugs, I think, that cause it to maybe not work as well. But you know, we'll see there. So diving into Templar. Templar's big thing is hammers. If you like hammers, Templar is for you. So any Towley fans out there, this is it. Or I think was it Northern Lion that did the kill 'em with hammers thing? This is that. This is the kill 'em with hammers meme. So Templars stop at nothing to bring justice to the wicked. They call down hammers of light and unleash devastating combinations of physical and holy attacks to vanquish their enemies. Ooh. So the capstone here, or keystone I guess, is Light's Guidance. Wake of Ashes is replaced with Hammer of Light for 12 seconds after it's cast. Hammer of Light. Hammer down your enemy with the power of the light, dealing 341,000 holy damage and 170,000 holy damage to up to 4 nearby enemies. Additionally, calls down Empyrean hammers from the sky to strike 3 nearby targets for 27,000 holy damage each, and it costs 5 holy power. Now this flows pretty well with the spec. Because Wake of Ashes generates holy power, generates 3 holy power, you'll have enough to use it almost immediately after, especially if you have 2 going into it. And then the rest of the tree kind of just fills out the whole hammer theme. We'll read the key capstone next. So you gain a stack of light deliverance whenever you call down a hammer, the Empyrean ones. And while Wake of Ashes and Hammer of Light are unavailable, you can use 60 of those stacks to cast Hammer of Light additional time for free. So you get just a second one for free, which is pretty cool. Rest of the tree is just generating those hammers. So Shake the Heavens, after casting this, you call down a hammer on a nearby enemy every 2 seconds. Higher Calling, Crusader Strike, Hammer of Wrath, and Blade of Justice extend the duration by 1 second. Hammerfall, Templar's Verdict, and Divine Storm calls down an Empyrean hammer on a nearby enemy. And then while Shake the Heavens is active, this effect calls down an additional hammer. So you're getting a ton of hammers falling down. You're extending the duration. You can summon hammers, which gives you more big holy hammers, which is just like a really great feedback loop. Other sides of the tree are more hammer stuff, right? Empyrean hammer crit, deal AoE damage. Also gives you damage reduction. This is a nice little utility node, either giving you faster movement speed and longer charge with Divine Steed, or a Blessing of Sacrifice thing. Honestly, I think Charger is just great for Ret. Class historically that's not very mobile. Hammer of Light applies Judgment to its targets and increases your haste by 12% for 6 seconds. So after you use Hammer of Light, you're just getting haste and you apply Judgment, which is great for damage. Over here we have more damage nodes and a little defensive node. This one, Zealous Vindication. Hammer of Light calls down 2 hammers immediately on your target, or Divine Toll grants up to 100% increased damage to your next 3 judgments when striking one enemy, reduced by 20% for each additional target, like a single target node or like a hammer node. Giving you a shield. Wake of Ashes gives you a holy barrier, 15% of max health. Great 30-second 15% HP shield, which is really good. And Hammer of Light heals you for max health whenever you use it, which gives you more health, and any overhealing gets converted into a barrier. So you get a massive shield here. Basically up to 30% of your maximum health if you are at max whenever you use Hammer of Light. So insane defensive node here, offsets the loss of the shield, or the potential loss of the shield down here. Again, though, doesn't super matter. And then finally, last offensive node here, calling down a hammer has a 10% chance to reset the cooldown of Hammer of Wrath, make it usable on any target, or casting Judgment, increase the damage of Empyrean Hammer by 10%. Multiple applications may overlap. So lots of hammer stuff here. Really cool tree. It plays really well, like I said. We will try and show you the visuals. We'll go up to this little tree over here. So whenever we'll build up to my Wake of Ashes, we'll just build up in terms of, trying to move my, okay, it's not working, whatever. So we'll build up here just so I have 2 going into it, just use my procs, and then we will use Wake of Ashes. You can see down here, it's glowing and replaced with Hammer of Light. So whenever I use this now, boom, big massive strike, and you can see little tiny drops of like little hammers falling after. So those are the Empyrean hammers falling. It feels great. And then you see here, I'm now stacking up Light's Deliverance. So however many hammers I get, will end up dropping, giving me another thing. So every time I use that, I get another stack, because again, they're dropping Empyrean hammers. Boom. And then if we just build up to another one here, so we can see that I have Wake of Ashes. I'll go to a smaller dummy so you guys can see a little bit easier. And again, like you kind of truck on the horse now, but we'll go to the smaller dummy. We use our Wake of Ashes, boom, 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 and then you see I prop wings, and then we'll use our bigger hammer, boom, massive strike of holy light, and then you can see little hammers are falling from the sky now. So I think it visually looks really cool. Rotationally, it feels pretty good too. You get a lot of burst out of it. And you can see here, Hammer of Light, 2 casts, average crit, does a lot, damage for 2.8386 million or whatever. So if you actually end up doing like proper setup and all that rotation and stuff, like very often I've seen it hit for like 1.2, 1.3 million. So overall, great tree, really fun. All right, so the other tree is Herald of the Sun, and this one really feels like a much more AoE focused tree. A lot of stuff from the tree is about like Divine Storm. The single target stuff is like Hammer of Wrath, which, yeah, that does single target damage, but obviously not as much as like Templar's Verdict or something like that. But the main basis of the tree is based around Dawn Light. I guess I'll read the blurb first. Heralds of the Sun develop a deep bond to the sun and solar energy, using it to burn enemies and cauterize their allies' wounds. They can manifest potent solar rays while fully connected to the light. So praise the light type stuff. Anyways, Dawn Light is the keystone here. Passive, casting Wake of Ashes causes your next 2 holy power spending abilities to apply Dawn Light on your target, dealing damage or healing over 8 seconds. Then 8% of Dawn Light's damage and healing radiates nearby allies or enemies, reduced beyond 5 targets. So one thing you'll notice, Wake of Ashes, Wake of Ashes. So both hero talent trees are predicated on taking Wake of Ashes. Now, while you will never really not take Wake of Ashes, it is possible to do so. There are enough points in the tree to drop this and take everything else, which is like an interesting kind of build. But you know what? Hey, if that's your prerogative, that's your prerogative. Go ahead. So if you don't like Wake of Ashes, I'm sorry, I guess. But the whole tree is kind of built around this Dawnlight stuff, and then a bunch of like passive bonuses. The capstone, Sun's Avatar. During Avenging Wrath, you become linked to your Dawnlights, causing radiant damage or healing to allies or enemies that pass through the beams, reduced beyond 5 targets, and then activating Wrath applies up to 4 Dawnlights onto nearby allies or enemies and increases Dawnlight's duration by 25%. So the second part's bugged from what I can tell. I've tried with the Radiant Glory, the thing that replaces wings. I've tried with actual wings itself, and it doesn't apply. It just doesn't work. The only ones I'm able to get are the 2 off of this. Sometimes I can get a third one, but it just doesn't work, which is like the big problem with it, but it's whatever. Obviously, if this works, it'll be pretty good. Side branches are kind of passive, boring stuff, honestly, but we can read through them. Crit Strike increase to Hammer of Wrath and Divine Storm. Cool. Hammer Wrath and Divine Storm crits cause the target to burn for additional damage. Cool. And then Divine Storm and Hammer Wrath have a chance to cast again at lower effectiveness. Cool. So again, this is kind of why this is more of a AoE stuff. Divine Storm, Divine Storm, Divine Storm. Much more potent in AoE, less so in single target. But of course, Hammer of Wrath is still pretty good in single target, but not as much as something Templar would give you. Down the middle here, Eternal Flame replaces Word of Glory, heals an ally for a ton of damage, and then additional 85,000 over 16 seconds, and increase when casting yourself. That is used for Guided Prayer, which I guess is like fine. You have a choice note here, Lingering Radiance. Dawnlight leaves a flame on yourself for 10 seconds, or a greater judgment on enemies when it expires. Sure. The other one is your damage and healing over time effects have a chance to increase the damage of your next Hammer of Wrath and make it usable on any target. Again, fine, I guess. This adds a little bit more single target stuff to actually work with the rest of the tree. Again, though, not really the best. And then Solar Grace, your haste is increased by 3% for 12 seconds each time you apply Dawnlight. Multiple stacks may overlap. So you'll get 2 from your Wake of Ashes, and you should get 4 from Sun's Avatar. But again, this doesn't work, so not fully implemented stuff there. Well, not, doesn't work. Left side is just kind of some other random stuff. Gleaming Rays, while Dawnlight is active, Holy Power Spenders deal extra damage. Good stuff there. This one here, every 5 seconds, your next Dawnlight's damage or healing is increased by 5%, stacking it for 10 times. Stacks twice as fast out of combat. Weird, but I guess it kind of works. I'd probably always take this one, but it is just a tuning thing, so whatever. We have Aurora. Whenever you cast Wake of Ashes, you gain Divine Purpose. So your next Holy Power Spender is free. So you Wake of Ashes, Divine Storm, Divine Storm. Cool, more burst. And then this is just kind of a movement speed node. Illumine, Dawnlight reduces the movement speed of enemies and increases allies. And then at Will of the Dawn, you have extra move speed above 80% health. When you're brought below, you have a sudden burst of move speed. So just like a little like extra stuff there. So the visuals of the tree aren't as good as the hammer, I would say. They do exist, so I guess I can show you guys. So again, the main stuff is just off of Wake of Ashes. So we use Wake of Ashes, and then our next 2 Holy Power Spenders apply Dawnlight. So we can use it there. And now Dawnlight's applied to our target. And of course, a big stinky guy came through. So the Dawnlight's that little radiant thing happening above it. You can see ticking down there. So we should get 1 more here. No, I applied it. So it applies an AoE. So there you go. It was that little extra animation there. We will wait here for Wake of Ashes to come back so I can show you again, because it is important to see it. So boom, we'll Wake of Ashes. And then you can see here, I applied one way over here, which is very strange. That's the activation thing. So that's it. And then this is the beam that connects us. Then I'll use this again to send it out. And then boom, those are Dawnlights. And you guys saw the beam come out. So the visuals aren't like stunning or anything like that. They do look pretty solidly cool. You can apply Dawnlights to a lot of different targets. But again, the biggest thing is just kind of this dot effect. And then whenever you actually have Wake of Ashes or the wings up, you'll see that the little beams connect you. So when we do that, we'll apply one over there for some reason, which is weird, and then you can see these beams kind of connecting stuff, and they're healing and doing damage, and that's kind of the whole thing there. It's actually kind of cool, and it does do a solid amount of damage. Like Sun's Avatar did a pretty decent amount of damage, more so than the actual dots and stuff like that, but nothing's crazy, which again is why I think this is more of an AoE talent tree. But it's fine to have an AoE one, a single target one, and this works fine. I just do wish the actual activating wings thing actually worked, because right now it doesn't. So there you go, that's that. So there you go, that is Retribution Paladin in the War Within. Overall, good changes. Again, though, obviously they did fall prey to quality of life class stuff, with the removal of Crusader's Aura and the removal of the Crusader's Reprieve talent, gives an extra auto attack range and stuff like that. You know, happened to them because of design shifts to a lot of other people, but at the same time, they didn't get anything back to kind of offset it. So that kind of sucks for them. They're now entirely predicated on if tuning is good or not. But if tuning is good, I do think a lot of the changes they made were very positive changes. The new stuff's pretty fun. I do like having wings every 30 seconds. Your Wing of Ashes feels like such a powerful button now with all the stuff baked into it, which is really good. I really like Templar. The extra hammer hit feels great. Seeing those big numbers from just slamming a giant hammer down, then causing hammers to rain around you feels really good. The Dawn stuff feels solid in AoE. I do wish maybe a little bit more visuals, but the beams are kind of cool. The Dawn line effect itself is hard to see. Maybe better on big targets. I haven't tried it, but we'll see on that. And of course, they need to fix the Avenging Wrath wings kind of applying it, because right now it doesn't really work very well. You guys saw in the video it applied to one target randomly way far away, neither of my two nearby targets. So weird stuff there, but overall changes are great. Really enjoy the new Ret Paladin. It feels like Ret Paladin Plus. Like if you played it in Dragonflight, it's like a better version of that, and you also have a lot more options for builds for cleave now. So in raid, if you're stuck on a boss with just a single target with some adds that spawn that aren't too common or aren't too prevalent, you actually have options there now where you didn't before. So that's pretty good there. That's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, comment down below what you want to see next and let me know. This is recorded in advance, so I might not do it, but I would like to see it, obviously, because that might inform me recording these when I'm back. Thinking about when this is going to go up. We'll see what happens. I think I'll have 2 weeks to go before I go away. So advancement. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Subscribe, all that cool stuff for more Havoc and Melee stuff in the War Within. And see you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you, Sky Elk, Andrew Keenel, 100,001 Zans, Brad Wisniak, Felfa Darren Dark Terror, and Magic Man 133. Thank you all so much. If you want to help support me and help fund the channels and the videos, follow the link in the description to become a channel member and get some cool perks in the process. Again, thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.